I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. Well, hello, I'm Willie from the Ozarks, and we're ready for Lesson 98 in A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students here on, Saturday, April the 8th of 2023. And we're reading from the original edition in A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students. I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. Today is a day of special dedication. We take a stand on but one side today. We side with truth and let illusions go. We will not vacillate between the two, but take a firm position with the one. We dedicate ourselves to truth today and to salvation as God planned it be. We will not argue it is something else. We will not seek for it where it is not. In gladness we accept it as it is and take the part assigned to us by God. How happy to be certain. All our doubts we lay aside today and take our stand with certainty of purpose and with thanks that doubt is gone and surety has come. We have a mighty purpose to fulfill and have been given everything we need with which to reach the goal. Not one mistake stands in our way, for we have been absolved from errors. All our sins are washed away by realizing that they were but mistakes. The guiltless have no fear. We're going to take a strong stand with our oneness with God and our innocence, our guiltlessness. The guiltless have no fear, for they are safe and recognize their safety. They do not appeal to magic nor invent escapes from fancied threats without reality. They rest in quiet certainty that they will do what it is given them to do. They do not doubt their own ability because they know their function will be filled completely in the perfect time and place. Now, catch that. They do not doubt their own ability because they know their function will be filled completely in the perfect time and place. They took the stand which we will take today that we may share their certainty and thus increase it by accepting it ourselves. We're trusting in God here. They will be with us. Those that have already done this or that are going to do it in the future, he's going to talk about. They will be with us. All who took the stand we take today will gladly offer us all that they learned and every gain they made. Those still uncertain, too, will join with us, and borrowing our certainty will make it stronger still, while those as yet unborn will hear the call we heard and answer it when they have come to make their choice again. We do not choose but for ourselves today. Is it not worth 5 minutes of your time each hour to be able to accept the happiness that God has given you? Is it not worth 5 minutes of your time each hour to be able to accept the happiness that God has given you? Is it not worth 5 minutes hourly to recognize your special function here? Is not 5 minutes of the hour but a small request to make in terms of a reward so great it has no measure? You have made 1,000 losing bargains at the least. Here is an offer guaranteeing you your full release from pain of every kind and joy the world does not contain. You can exchange a little of your time for peace of mind and certainty of purpose with the promise of complete success. And since time has no meaning, you're being asked for nothing in return for everything. 5 minutes is a little gift you give for asking nothing for the return of everything. Here is a bargain you cannot lose, and what you gain is limitless indeed. Each hour today, give him your tiny gift of but 5 minutes. each hour today. Give him your gift of but 5 minutes. He will give the words you use in practicing today's idea the deep conviction and the certainty you lack. Just do your exercise and sit there and know that he's going to give you the certainty that you lack. You're just going to say and mean it, I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. His words will join with yours and make each repetition of today's idea a total dedication, made in faith as perfect and as sure as His in you. Wow, let's look at that. He will give the words you use in practicing today's idea the deep conviction and the certainty you lack. His words will join with yours and make each repetition of today's idea a total dedication, made in faith as perfect and as sure as His in you. His confidence in you will bring the light to all the words you say, and you will go beyond their sounds to what they really mean. Today you practice with Him as you say, I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. In each 5 minutes that you spend with Him, He will accept your words and give them back to you, all bright with faith and confidence, so strong and steady that they will light the world with hope and gladness. Do not lose one chance to be the glad receiver of His gifts, that you may give them to the world today. Wow, he said, don't miss any of these 5 minutes because of all these gifts you're going to give. And remember, you're going to make advances in your spiritual awakening, which would take thousands of years in just 5 minutes. That's what he's saying. It's possible, and it's likely. It's to be expected. Give Him the words, and He will do the rest. Give Him the words. I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. That's all you have to do. That's your little part. That's your firefly part. His is the brilliance of the sun part. Give Him the words and He will do the rest. He will enable you to understand your special function. He will open up the way to happiness and peace, and trust will be His gift, His answer to your words. He will open up the way to happiness. He will enable you to understand your special function, the specifics of what you are supposed to do. Not in general what we're all to do as children of God, but what do you have specifically? That's what He'll show you when you tell Him and mean it. I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation, and give Him those 5 minutes to give you that gift of awakening, of awareness. Give Him the words and He will do the rest. He will enable you to understand your special function. He will open up the way to happiness and peace, and trust will be His gift, His answer to your words. He will respond with all His faith and joy and certainty that what you say is true. And you will have conviction then of Him who knows the function that you have on earth as well as heaven. He will be with you each practice period you share with Him, exchanging every instant of the time you offer Him for timelessness and peace. Throughout the hour, let your time be spent in happy preparation for the next 5 minutes you will spend again with Him. Repeat today's idea while you wait for the glad time to come to you again. I think of that song, Sweet Hour of Prayer. Repeat it often. Do not forget each time you do so. You have let your mind be readied for the happy time to come. This is a sweet 5 minutes of each hour. We don't have to take an hour. We just take 5 minutes each hour. And when the hour is gone and He is there once more to spend a little time with you, be thankful and lay down all earthly tasks, all little thoughts and limited ideas, and spend a happy time with Him. Tell Him once more that you accept the part which He would have you take and help you fill, and He will make you sure you want this choice, which He has made with you and you with Him. I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. Okay, experience and perception is the section we're going to read in the text, chapter 10, God and the Ego. Section 7. While you're turning there to experience and perception, let me tell you about a particular type of broccoli. This is broccoli planting time. And you can plant it out right now. In other words, you could have got it started weeks ago or picked up some at a garden supply. And this is the Yod Fah Chinese Broccoli. It's a Brassica oleracea, but it also has an R. alboglabra. So it's probably got some other genetics in with it. But it's a Brassica oleracea, so it is a broccoli. 55 days to maturity, the Yod Fah Chinese Broccoli. This delectable tender stalk tastes like a cross between asparagus and broccoli, only sweeter. Our favorite spring vegetable, this is a very easy to grow broccoli-like plant from China. We can't get enough of the crisp stems and shoots, which are about as thick as a large asparagus shoot, with a perfect snap and crunch. Nothing goes to waste with this crop. All parts of the plant are delicious. The tender blue-green glossy leaves are similar to kale but better, and the broccoli-like inflorescences are buttery soft and nutty in flavor. A must-have for those who long for broccoli but struggle to grow it. Excellent for market gardeners as well. Yod Fah is a selection from Thailand that boasts good heat resistance. Not only is this vegetable a taste test winner, but also a nutritional superfood. And I read that out of the Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Catalog. And what's going on around the world today? Well, we have Baby Massage Day, Buddha Day Buddha was born, Dog Farting Awareness Day, Draw a Picture of a Bird Day, Holy Saturday, day before Easter, International Feng Shui Awareness Day, International Roma Day, International Romani Day, National All Is Ours Day, National Catch and Release Day, National Dog Fighting Awareness Day, National Empanada Day, Step Into the Spotlight Day, Trading Cards for Grown-Ups Day, and Zoo Lovers Day. Oh, and I found some other ones. And these are the ones that I thought were actually more interesting. I found all that on holiday and observances. Hana Matsuri, which is the flower festival in Japan. Well, I bet you that's beautiful. Nuzul al-Quram, which is the first verse revealed to Muhammad for the Quran. And birthday of Sri Guru Nabha Das Ji in Punjab, author of Bhaktamal. Bhaktamal? Okay, well there's some festivals going on around the world. And we will now take a look at our reading, experience, and perception. It is impossible not to believe what you see, but it is equally impossible to see what you do not believe. Perceptions are built up on the basis of experience, and experience leads to beliefs. It is not until beliefs are fixed that perception stabilizes, or perceptions stabilize. In effect, then, what you believe, you do see. That is what I meant when I said, "Blessed are ye who have not seen and still believe. For those who believe in the resurrection will see it." And that was a quote from that Jesus was when he talked to Thomas, and Thomas was doubting whether Jesus, and Jesus said in John 20 verse 29, "Blessed are ye who have not seen and yet or still believe." For those who believe in the resurrection will see it. The resurrection is the complete triumph of Christ over the ego, not by attack, but by transcendence. For Christ does rise above the ego and all its works and ascends to the Father and His kingdom. Would you join in the resurrection or the crucifixion? Would you condemn your brothers or free them? Well, we're taking a side to free them. Would you transcend your prison and ascend to the Father? For these questions are all the same and are answered together. There has been much confusion about what perception means because the same word is used both for awareness and for the interpretation of awareness. Yet you cannot be aware without interpretation, and what you perceive is your interpretation. This course is perfectly clear. You do not see it clearly because you are interpreting against it and therefore do not believe it. And if belief determines perception, you do not perceive what it means and therefore do not accept it. 61. Yet different experiences lead to different beliefs, and with them different perceptions. For perceptions are learned with beliefs, and experience teaches. I am leading you to a new kind of experience, which you will become less and less willing to deny. Learning of Christ is easy, for to perceive with Him involves no strain at all. His perceptions are your natural awareness, and it is only distortions which you introduce that tire you. Let the Christ in you interpret for you, and do not try to limit what you see by narrow little beliefs which are unworthy of God's Son. For until Christ comes into His own, the Son of God will see Himself as fatherless. I am your resurrection and your life. You live in me because you live in God, and everywhere lives in you as you live in and everyone lives in you as you live in everyone. Can you then perceive unworthiness in a brother and not perceive it in yourself? And can you perceive it in yourself and not perceive it in God? Believe in the resurrection because it has been accomplished, and it has been accomplished in you. This is as true now as it will ever be, for the resurrection is the will of God, which knows no time and no exceptions. But make no exceptions yourself, or you will not perceive what has been accomplished for you. For we ascend unto the Father together, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be. For such is the nature of God's Son, as His Father created Him. 63. Do not underestimate the power of the devotion of God's Son, nor the power of the God He worships over Him. For He places Himself at the altar of His God, whether it be the God He made or the God who created Him. That is why His slavery is as complete as His freedom. For He will obey only the God He accepts. The God of the crucifixion demands that He crucify, and His worshippers obey. In His name they crucify themselves, believing that the power of the Son of God is born of sacrifice and pain. The God of the resurrection demands nothing. The God of the resurrection demands nothing. For He does not will to take away. He does not require obedience, for obedience implies submission. He would only have you learn your own will and follow it, not in the spirit of sacrifice and submission, but in the gladness of freedom, or I was going to say, in the gladness of being yourself. That's why we want to say to ourselves today, every hour for 5 minutes, I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation, because God's plan for salvation is your plan for salvation. But you got to let Him show it to you. 64. Resurrection must compel your allegiance gladly, because it is the symbol of joy. Its whole compelling power lies in the fact that it represents what you want to be. The freedom to leave behind everything that hurts you and humbles you and frightens you cannot be thrust upon you. But it can be offered you through the grace of God, and you can accept it by His grace. For God is gracious to His Son, accepting Him without question as His own. Who then is your own? The Father has given you all that is His, and He Himself is yours with them. Guard them in their resurrection, for otherwise you will not awaken God, safely surrounded by what is yours forever. You will not find peace until you have removed the nails from the hands of God's Son and taken the last thorn from his forehead. The love of God surrounds his Son, whom the God of crucifixion condemns. Teach not that I died in vain. Teach rather that I did not die, by demonstrating that I live in you. For the undoing of the crucifixion of God's Son is the work of the redemption, in which everyone has a part of equal value. God does not judge his blameless Son. Having given himself to him, how could it be otherwise? You have nailed yourself to a cross and placed a crown of thorns upon your own head. Yet you cannot crucify God's Son, for the will of God cannot die. His Son has been redeemed from his own crucifixion, and you cannot assign to death whom God has given eternal life. The dream of crucifixion still lies heavy on your eyes, but what you see in dreams is not reality. While you perceive the Son of God as crucified, you are asleep. And as long as you believe that you can crucify him, you are only having nightmares. You who are beginning to wake are still aware of dreams and have not yet forgotten them. The forgetting of dreams and the awareness of Christ comes with the awakening of others to share your redemption. 67. You will awaken to your own call, for the call to awake is within you. If I live in you, you are awake. Yet you must see the works I do through you, or you will not perceive that I have done them unto you. Do not set limits on what you believe. Do not set limits on what you believe I can do through you. You will not accept what I can do. Do not set limits on what you believe I can do through you, or you will not accept what I can do for you. That's why today we don't have to really understand what our part is. Just offer it to God. He'll let you know your specific plan and the general plan. He'll show you it all. Just trust him. Say, I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. You will awaken to your own call, for the call to awake is within you. If I live in you, you are awake. Yet you must see the works I do through you, or you will not perceive that I have done them unto you. Do not set limits on what you believe I can do through you, or you will not accept what I can do for you. For it is done already. Unless you give all that you have received, you will not know that your Redeemer liveth, and that you have awakened with him. Redemption is recognized only by sharing it. Redemption is recognized only by sharing it. And the last paragraph to finish this section, 68. God's Son is saved. Bring only this awareness to the sonship, and you will have a part in the redemption as valuable as mine. God's Son is saved. All of God's Son is saved. Bring only this awareness to the sonship, that they're already saved. They don't even need to know it, but you can know it for them. That's what redemption does. God's Son is saved. Bring only this awareness to the sonship. How many times do we need to read that? God's Son is saved. Bring only this awareness to the sonship, and you will have a part in the redemption as valuable as mine. For your part must be like mine if you learn it of me. If you believe that yours is limited, you are limiting mine. There is no order of difficulty in miracles, because all of God's sons are of equal value, and their equality is their oneness. The whole power of God is in every part of him, and nothing contradictory to his will is either great or small. What does not exist has no size and no measure. To God all things are possible, and to Christ it is given to be like the Father. Let's read that last little bit again. The whole power of God is in every part of him. Nothing contradictory to his will is either great or small. What does not exist has no size and no measure. To God all things are possible, and to Christ it is given to be like the Father. Okay, well, let's close with our song today. I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. Remember, your little part is to give Him the beginning of each hour. Try to give Him 5 minutes when you can. I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation.